Greetings. Let's look at 5.5, question 24. Here we are comparing some investment opportunities. So we have a Treasury bill, a Treasury bond, and AAA stock. So I've got myself set up here a little bit just so that we can compare the differences in terms of the risk and the maturity premiums associated with each stock or investment. So the first is the Treasury bill. Okay, so it's a current interest rate of 3.5%. So we know that it's 3.5% Treasury bill. Then we have a Treasury bond. Okay, so we have a maturity of 20 year, and the current interest rate is 5.5%. And finally, we can choose a AAA corporate bond with a 20-year maturity at a rate of 7%. Okay, so we know our total interest rates here, and basically we're just trying to understand how did we come to that figure. Now, the RF represents the risk-free rate. Okay, so in other words, the risk-free rate is the rate that before any premiums are associated. So the default premium and the maturity premium, when you add those together with the risk-free rate, gives us our current interest rate. But we have to know a few things about each investment. And ultimately, we're just trying to compare the similarities and differences between each investment opportunity. So if we take a look at the Treasury bill, the first question we want to ask ourselves is there a default premium associated with the Treasury bill? And ideally, we answer that question with a no. And the reason for that is because ultimately, if we invest in a Treasury bill, we're basically borrowing or we're lending money to the government, which means that the likelihood of them paying us back is pretty much guaranteed. So because of that reason, we have a zero default premium. Okay, in other words, the likelihood is pretty much guaranteed they'll pay us back, so they won't default on that loan. Now, next question is, what about a maturity premium? Do they have any, is there a premium on maturity? Well, if we remember, a Treasury bill is it's an investment of less than 1 year. So because of that, there is no maturity premium associated with that. So that leads us to believe that the actual risk-free rate is equal to the interest rate, which makes sense, again, given the characteristics of the Treasury bill. Let's move on. And once we know the risk-free rate, we can add that to all of the following rates. Okay, we just have to figure out what other factors adds to our current interest rate, for instance, in the Treasury bond. So now, Treasury bond, the similarity of a Treasury bond to a Treasury bill is that in both cases you are lending money to the government. So in terms of a default premium, again, there is no default premium because we expect to get that money back. So therefore, we have a zero default premium. So what that means for the maturity premium is, we know it's going to be the difference between the Treasury bond and the Treasury bill. You can also look at it by adding it together, okay? And of course, there is a maturity premium for a Treasury bond because we know it's a 20-year maturity. So that is the similarity and difference between the Treasury bond and Treasury bill. Now let's take a look at the Treasury bond and the AAA stock. So what is the similarity? Well, the similarity is that they both have a 20-year maturity. So if that's the case, we know that the maturity premium is 2 as well because they are identical. Now, the difference, again, we could just do the math, but we can also do the math this way. The difference between the AAA stock and the Treasury bond is that there is default premium associated with the bond, okay? So that means the difference between the corporate stock and the Treasury bond is going to be our default premium. And of course, yes, if we add these up, so let's just make sure that we seem to be on the right track. If we add up these 3 factors, we should get the same for our current interest rate. So that looks good. Okay, so and the reason why I'm doing it this way is just so that you can take a look at the similarities and differences of these investments and start understanding the risk and return options that you have. So let's get back to the actual question. What is the default premium? Okay, so our default premium is 1.5%. And what is the maturity premium? Well, that looks like it's 2%. All right, thanks for watching and happy financing.